So right off the bat, that raises red flag. 320,000 tons of gold is more gold than has ever been produced in the entire world history, plus all of the gold reserves that are underground. So the government, or Uganda, Uganda is the size of, I don't know, New Jersey.
Sure.
They're claiming that they have more gold than has ever been produced in human history. Probably not.
All right, welcome to the Angel Research Podcast. I'm your host, Jason Stutman, and we are here as usual today to discuss the market's hottest stock stories and investment opportunities. We've got Luke Burgess on the show. Luke is the founder and managing director of multiple investment advisory services, including Junior Mining Trader and The Crow's Nest. He also contributes to multiple financial publications, including the Outsider Club and the Bull and Bust Report. Luke is probably best categorized as an expert in resource stocks and precious metals investing. And today, Luke is going to help us talk about an investing asset that I think most investors are familiar with, and that is gold. A lot of investors are wondering about gold right now, with inflation recently hitting 40-year highs. So Luke is going to tell us his thoughts on inflation as a gold hedge in the current market. Maybe he's going to share some of his favorite ways to invest in gold. Maybe we can pick his brain on some of his favorite gold stocks. And possibly the most interesting thing that we'll talk about today is our recent claims of an absolutely massive gold find in Africa that, if true, would mark one of the biggest gold discoveries, if not the biggest gold discovery in history. And Luke has some strong thoughts on this and opinions, so we'll get to that in a little bit. Quick disclaimer, nothing that we say here today, as usual, is financial or personal financial advice. We can give you tools and insights to make good investment decisions, but we can't make those trades for you. Also, if you like the content, like the video. If you like the video, subscribe to the channel. And if you have anything to say, leave a comment. Luke, welcome to the show. It's good to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
You've been on the show before. And the last time that you were on here, we talked a little bit about your background and expertise. I don't want to, repeat too much of that, but I did want to dig a little bit deeper into a personal hobby of yours, which is coin collecting, because I think it kind of speaks to the fact that you're not just interested in precious metals professionally. This is a genuine interest of yours. You know this, but I'll kind of inform the audience. My grandfather recently passed away. And one of the things that, we were cleaning out his stuff and trying to figure out what to do with all of his things. And one of the things that I came across was a coin collection. And I thought to call you immediately. And I was very impressed with your level of knowledge and how quickly you were able to identify all the coins, tell me what I should look for, and you knew the value ranges. It ultimately wasn't worth that much, but I was very impressed. So I guess I had a couple of questions about that hobby. Maybe just to kind of kick it off, how did you get started investing, not investing in coins, but collecting coins? And what kind of interests you about that?
I guess I've been interested in collecting coins ever since I was a little kid. I had a little encyclopedia when I was about 10 years old that it had some old coins in it, and I just got really interested in it from there. I can't tell you at what point I thought, I love coins now, but
Sure.
Sometime in my childhood.
And did that precede your interest in probably if you were 10, did that precede your interest in investing in metals and things like that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I guess my best guess of what really interests me in coins is the foreign nature of them. That you can have a piece of Japan in your hand, or you can have a
Sure.
piece of ancient China in your hand. It's just like a little collectible. I mean, that's what it is, right?
Okay, so is this a viable way to invest or to make money?
No,
for
absolutely
you?
not.
It's not. This is just an
not.
interest.
Yeah, and I would recommend anyone staying away from trying to invest in coins or any kind of collectible.
Because I see a lot of commercials. I feel like infomercials late at night, people talking about buy this gold coin, it's going to be worth a lot. Is that all kind of BS?
They're all just extremely overpriced. There's nothing fake, but they're just really charging you double for what you can buy on eBay for half the price.
Okay, and if someone happens to have a collection of coins at home, what kind of coins should they be looking for?
So I mean, anything that's obviously anything gold, right? That's going to be the most valuable. But anything silver coins are always the most popular ones. U.S. coins are valuable. but foreign coins really aren't worth anything. Anything that is like meant as a collectible is typically not that valuable.
Sure, because they've printed so many of them, and all the collectors have already purchased them.
And they've been preserved in cases they were intended to be saved. The coins that are collectible that are valuable are the ones that are destroyed for whatever reason or not intended to be saved.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay, let's move on to more traditional ways to invest in gold. So as I mentioned earlier, inflation is still extremely high. Obviously, the most recent data we got back, I believe at the time of this recording, it may be decelerating a little bit, but it's still very high. Yet gold doesn't seem to be kind of like skyrocketing as you would typically expect it to. So my question to you is kind of what's going on here? Have we entered an era where like gold is no longer the reliable inflation hedge that it once was, or is there some kind of delay in a spike and we should be expecting gold to move soon? What are your thoughts on all that?
Well, so the relationship between gold and inflation is very short. We talk about like a historical relationship, but we really only mean a history of 100 years. Gold absolutely has a history that goes back thousands of years of wealth preservation, but in terms of like inflation, that only really matters as far as the history of fiat currency, which is several hundred years old. But by what we mean as inflation of the U.S. dollar, that's 100 years old. Prior to 1975, it was illegal for U.S. citizens to own gold. So we really only have less than 50 years of data to determine to say that gold is a good or not a good inflation hedge. In the past, it has acted as a pretty good inflation hedge, but other things have too. Real estate is an inflation hedge. I think that gold's inflation status ebbs and flows. It was very popular to own gold as an inflation hedge in 2011. Today, it's not so much. Other people want other things.
So you say 2011, right, which was a couple of years after the financial crisis. Is that what you're expecting right now with gold? Basically, does the economy have to go into the shitter for gold to start running up, or are people gonna buy it kind of earlier?
So I think the economy would really have to go into the shitter for gold to, I think, really respond positively.
Okay.
So now, when I say that gold is maybe not so much of an inflation hedge as you think it is, I don't mean that in times of hyperinflation, gold has absolutely been a valuable asset. If you look at like in Venezuela, the price of gold skyrocketed along with everything else. But you don't want that. Like if we're having hyperinflation, you're having other problems that are bigger than you're not worried about your gold holdings. But 9% inflation, that's not really hyperinflation. That just ends up with more people complaining that they have to spend more at the grocery store and then they can't spend as much at the bar. That's really what that means.
Okay, so regardless of price, even if gold is flat or maybe even if it's ticking down a little bit, there are still ways to make money in gold. And I think this is kind of your area of expertise, which is specifically in mining companies.
Yes. Yeah.
So maybe you could help the audience know, what are you looking for in a gold miner, and what tells you like that a gold deposit is promising.
Gold, the actual process of mining the gold is very complicated, and mining and processing, it's very complicated. But the premise of it is very simple. You just want to produce a product for less than you can sell it. So when we're talking about prices, as long as the price is high enough that you can sell it for more than you're producing it, gold miners don't mind if it's $2,000 an ounce or $3,000 an ounce.
Okay.
In fact, they'd prefer a steadier price than a fluctuating price.
Okay. What about is there anything like the concentration of gold in a deposit that you're looking for? Like when you're looking at like a survey for gold, like what tells you that something is more promising than another?
So you're asking about grades.
Well, yeah, you've talked to me about quality before, and I know that you kind of have like pretty like strong like opinions on how gold percentages are kind of discussed in a lot of financial media. I feel like you think that there's a lot of kind of misconceptions, and maybe this is a good opportunity for you to kind of clarify some of those things.
Yeah, sure. Okay. So, what you're talking about is gold exploration.
Yeah.
So when gold explorers, they go out and drill and they report their findings. They are going to report that in basically two ways or two parts of a sentence. They're going to say we have drilled X grams of gold per ton over X meters. So it's basically that they've drilled this long section of core, and from this small section they've got approximately X grams per ton over this length here. So what people are looking for, what the investors are looking for mostly is high grade. High grade moves stock prices. So when the market sees 30, 40 grams per ton, they like that. If they see 100, 200 grams per ton, they love that. But what they don't pay attention to are the lengths. So more often than not, you'll see these super high grades, 100, 200 grams per ton, over a half a meter, which is a foot and a half.
So could they just basically select
They do.
They could pick, they just basically are picking the most concentrated spot and then hoping that investors are extrapolating off of that.
This is exactly what they're doing.
Okay.
Right, yeah, and it's not unethical or illegal, but this is how they do it.
Sure. So you're saying you want high grams per ton, and you also want a good.
We want the big length. Yes, that's actually the length to me is one of the more important parts. The grade is because, like you said, they could just pick that.
Okay.
It's much harder to select. Find a long intersection.
That makes sense. Is there any kind of I view a lot of things from a technological perspective. Is there any kind of special equipment or technology that certain miners use that allow them to extract gold cheaper than other miners do, or does everyone basically use the same kind of equipment?
So today there's actually a lot of really exciting technology being implemented into mining. AI, autonomous vehicles. So Rio Tinto is one of the companies who's leading the way on this. They have autonomous drillers. They have autonomous trucks. They have autonomous trains. I think in the future, the AI is going to be way more helpful in also the exploration of these minerals.
Gotcha.
This is going to drive down prices, this is going to drive down costs, which is going to increase the profit. So yes, absolutely, there are tons of new technologies that are being implemented right now.
Okay. So do you have any picks and shovel plays then that are particularly interesting?
So I have been looking for some AI plays, but most of the companies right now are startups. They're $1 or $2 million companies and illiquid. A lot of them that I looked at have an average daily volume of 1,000 shares and trading at 2 cents. So $20 a day.
What about a company like Caterpillar? I think they make some kind of automated
they do.
Mining rigs.
They do, but Caterpillar also makes everything.
So so it's not really
it's not a pure play.
That makes sense. Okay, so we're talking about deposits. I want to kind of shift the conversation to these big claims that are coming out of Uganda. Just to give a little bit of context to the audience, a few weeks ago, Uganda announced that it struck a deposit of something like 31 million tons of gold ore. I can see the smile on your face that you think this is nonsense. MiningReview.com, and I think they may be just kind of regurgitating this from what the Ugandan government had kind of said, but they said that it's worth something like $12 trillion worth of U.S. gold. You brought this story to me, but you've also told me that it's kind of nonsense. So what do you feel like is illegitimate about this supposed gold find going on in Uganda?
So, the story broke in Reuters. When I first read this story, I thought it was a mistake. I honestly thought, they just made a mistake and they'll print a correction later on and that'll be it. And there was no correction. In fact, over the next month, people kept sending me the article hey, look, Uganda found all this gold. What's up with this? And it just came back over and over. So I finally looked into it and tried to find out exactly what's going on. So the original Reuters article reported that the Ugandan government is claiming that they have discovered 320,000 tons of gold within 31 million tons of ore. So right off the bat, that raises red flag. 320,000 tons of gold is more gold than has ever been produced in the entire world history, plus all of the gold reserves that are underground. So the government, or Uganda, Uganda is the size of, I don't know, New Jersey.
Sure.
They're claiming that they have more gold than has ever been produced in human history. Probably not. That's not the case. And when you look at the numbers again, they're saying that they have 320,000 tons of gold within 31 million metric tons. That would mean the average grade of this ore is over 10,000 grams per ton. That's not likely.
Okay.
If
Have they released like the grams per ton, or are they
No.
they haven't given any
they
samples,
haven't,
or
there's no sampling. They have presented nothing other than they haven't even done any drilling to claim this.
sure?
The claims are made off of airborne surveys and a couple other geochemical tests. What I am assuming happened is either one, it is still a mistake, and they meant 320,000 ounces, not 300,000 tons.
Okay.
That would actually make more sense. If they didn't, what they did was, if it's not just a flat out lie, if they just didn't make this number up. They took a tiny sample and tested it and they said, okay, well, this has a very high concentration of gold, so we're going to assume that the entire country has this gold. It's like me going outside and finding $20 on the street and assuming every street in Baltimore City
Sure.
is going to
They're
have 20.
extrapolating out much further than they
Right,
should. You
right,
think?
right.
Okay, so you think that this claim is too good to be true?
It's absolutely too good to be true, and it's also important to note that the Ugandan government is actively trying to get investors. So it's false, and they know it's false. They're just trying to hype people up to get money into the country.
Okay, I'm going to present to you my conspiracy theory here.
Lay it on me.
Okay, because I did a little bit of research here, and you could let me know what you think about this. The U.S. sanctioned Uganda in March for smuggling gold from Congo.
Right.
Is this massive gold find some sort of like front so that they can smuggle more gold from Congo?
Highly unlikely. So what the Ugandan government is claiming, they're not claiming that they've mined any gold. That would have been smuggled. They're just claiming that they found it. But I see what you're saying. They'd say,
Like
well,
they're
we
laundering,
just got right.
They're
they just-
laundering the gold. So
No.
I sent you this video yesterday, and maybe like because I'm trying to maybe provide some more context for my conspiracy theory here, but it was exactly a year earlier in March 2021 that there was this video that released of there were apparently some mountain of gold in Congo,
Yeah.
and there's hundreds of people. There's this video online. It went viral at the time, and they're all just kind of digging up gold from the ground. And it's just like super, super rich gold. Is that, is the Uganda gold claim some sort of front for this massive gold find in the Congo? Or
Well,
is
let me
that,
ask you. You saw the photos. Did you see any gold?
I saw them sifting through they were sifting through a thing, and it looked like it was looked like there was some gold in there. But I don't know.
They would, if they had this much gold, they would be showing you the gold. So the article that you're pointing to, so it said they had 60 to 90% gold. That means that more than half of the rock is gold, and it's been sitting there in a mountain. No one's ever saw it. No one's ever decided to mine this thing.
Sure.
There's no way that that's true. So what happened in there, I'm still looking into that. But what I am assuming happened is somebody made a fake video. They basically they took a little gold, put it in the ground, and then pretended to find it, and then they posted this to some social media website, and it caused a gold rush.
Yeah. Well, the government had to ban
I saw that, yeah.
mining on that mountain because so many people were just like flocking to the area. And
So this thing, it happens sometimes. It happens like this. I was actually, after you sent me that article, I went looking for, there's another story that I don't know exactly what country it is. I can't find it. It was either Indonesia or India, somewhere in the South Asia. Somebody had faked a video about finding gold on the beach. And this caused like all the locals to come run it, and they started digging up the beach looking for the gold. This is some fake video some guy
Are people just doing that for fun, like for laughs?
That's a good question. I don't know what the motivation is. I would hope that they're profiting from this in some way. I wouldn't. I would hope
You would hope that they're actually succeeding in.
My hope is like the guy who did it is like a guy who owns like a local restaurant, and he just wants people to come to the area
Okay,
to get to his restaurant. I'm hoping it's not just somebody looking for attention or just doing this as a hoax.
Yeah. I mean, I was just surprised at the number of people that were in that video. Like, that's a big, like, I guess unless they, they could have said something and then, attracted everyone there, and then that's when they took the video. But
it's also the Congo. It's a very poor country. If you told any third world country that there's a big mountain of gold, you'd have masses migrating, descending on this mountain.
That makes sense. So you're saying Uganda is not a good investment opportunity?
Absolutely not.
Okay. So if not Uganda, where should investors, which regions should investors be looking at right now in terms of finding good gold miners and good gold prospects?
Okay, so there's absolutely one that you absolutely need to be a part of right now, and that's Newfoundland. I know that we have been talking about this Newfoundland thing for quite a long time, but the discovery is still there. The work is still being done. It takes a long time.
Where is Newfoundland?
Canada.
Okay.
Eastern Canada. Back in 2020, Newfound Gold made a pretty large discovery, and 6 months later, about spring 2021, this sort of kicked off a gold rush into the region. Since then, the price of gold has really pulled back, and it kind of lost there, and all the share prices have pulled back. But the discovery is still there. The geology hasn't changed; just the market has changed.
Can you give us maybe some context on how big this discovery is, or which surveys maybe turned you on to this and told you that this was real as opposed to kind of these other surveys will have. Was there something that had basically a high concentration of gold and a long length, or?
Well, so far, Newfound Gold they've put out multiple drill results that suggest that they do have something large. But from the beginning, they have been comparing the Queensway project to the Fosterville project in Australia.
Okay.
The Fosterville project sold in 2015 for $1 billion. And this gold at the time was about $1,100 an ounce. So we can assume that if Queensway can be compared to the Fosterville project, it's worth at least $1 billion in 2015 with gold at $1,000 an ounce. Well, gold's at $1,700 an ounce right now. And I actually don't know what Newfound's gold's market cap is off the top of my head, but it's not $1 billion.
Gotcha. Is that the only company that you're eyeing right now, or are there multiple?
No, absolutely not. So when there's a big discovery like this, other companies go and look for gold around the area. Mm-hmm. The way that gold deposits are formed, they just don't pop up independent or in one spot. Sort of come up in in a fan almost. If you find one gold deposit, there's a very good chance you're going to find another one very nearby. There's an old saying geologists have: the best place to find gold is where somebody else has already found it.
Okay. And if anyone wants any specific information on those companies, where would they have to look?
Okay, so you definitely want to check out our Junior Mining Trader. Check out Outsider Club. Newfoundland is a topic I've been talking about in Outsider Club for almost 2 years now. I'm almost kind of sick of it, to be honest with you.
Sure.
But
I mean, you were spot on that call, though. That from the time that you recommended Newfound Gold. That stock. I mean, I might be wrong here. Did it double or triple within that time frame, or?
It tripled.
Yeah.
There was a lot about Newfound Gold that investors really weren't paying attention to. They weren't paying attention to the first couple drill results, which did have high grades and thick intersections. But one of the things that we should have been paying attention to more was their drill program. They had planned to drill 100,000 meters, which is insane. It's like other companies, when their initial drill programs, maybe they drill 10,000. These guys are going balls to the wall at 100,000. They've actually upped that up to 400,000 meters, which I am pretty sure is the largest drill campaign ever to be conducted on a single property under one
So you still like them?
Absolutely.
Okay.
So this stock is, I think it's about $6 right now.
Yeah.
And I think it's pulled back simply because just gold is not a desirable asset. It has nothing to do with price. It's just there's no hype around gold right now.
Okay, cool. Well, thanks for revealing that stock. I know that you don't want to give away all the others, so we'll leave a link in the description for anyone who's maybe interested in joining a junior mining trader.
Yeah, so let me say there are probably like 20, 25 companies surrounding them.
Mm-hmm.
Most of them don't have
Sure.
much. Half of them showed up because, Newfound Gold found something. But the other ones, they actually are on track to find something pretty big.
Okay. Well, is there anything else you want to chat about or plug today? Or
I got nothing.
Okay, cool. Luke, thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me.
So, we'll see you.
Yeah.